A few days ago, we saw the single largest hack in crypto history, with over $1.4 billion worth of crypto being hacked from the Bybit cryptocurrency exchange. Hacks and scams are unfortunately all too frequent in crypto. But how did this one happen? Who's to blame? And how can you stay safe yourself? Well, in the next few minutes, I'll run through what happened with the Bybit hack, breaking it down so that it's easy to understand and so that you can learn from this episode. So Bybit is the second largest centralized exchange, or CEX, in crypto by trading volume, right? With approximately 9% market share last year, they are second only to Binance with its huge 39% market share. As you can see here, in 2024, Binance had 39% market share, so not 39% of all the trades in centralized exchanges happened on Binance, and Bybit had 9%, right? Bybit have been around since 2018 and are predominantly based in Dubai and Singapore. In just a few short years, they've become a real powerhouse in the space. Last week, on February 21st, 2025, Bybit suffered the largest hack ever seen in crypto history, with approximately $1.4 billion worth of crypto being stolen from one of their cold wallets. The hack represented around 10% of their total 15 billion reserves at the time. Since then, there have been billions of dollars withdrawn from the exchange, and now they only hold around $11.4 billion according to DeFi Llama. That's this number here, right? So they used to hold 15 and now it's down to 11.4 in just under a week. Given the extreme circumstances, the company's done incredibly well, having been able to keep up with the withdrawals and stay solvent. You know, they haven't gone bankrupt. They have the money to pay out people. Their CEO Benzo has been praised by many in the space for handling the situation incredibly well, given the insane size of the hack. I mean, we've never had something so big. The second largest hack was the Ronin chain hack, which was $600 million, right? And that's huge as well. So what happened? Well, before we get into the hack, let me just say that if you want to set up your first crypto wallet so that you can take part in the growing global crypto economy and access over $1,900 worth of courses entirely for free, then click in the link in the description below. So Benzo explained in an X post that the hack was orchestrated through one of their cold wallets, which is surprising, as I'll explain. The hackers essentially fooled the Bybit team to sign a transaction that took control of that wallet and then transferred all their funds out, which was around 400,000 ETH, right? 400,000 ETH coins, and a bunch of other ERC20 tokens that amounted to around $1.5 billion, $4 billion, right? So he explained in this tweet that the cold wallet was just doing a normal transfer to their warm wallet, but it got, they signed incorrectly. They signed something that they didn't expect to be signing, and this resulted in the hacker taking control. So let's go into that. To understand what happened, it's important to have an idea of how CEXs work, right? All centralized exchanges have some sort of split of their funds between hot and warm wallets that are used, for high frequency deposits and withdrawals, versus their cold wallets that are more secure and therefore used to hold larger amounts of money and get interacted with less frequently, right? They move money less frequently. You can imagine you have these kind of vaults that don't use money much, and these smaller wallets that are fast moving and don't have as much security on them, but they can move money in and out quickly for deposits and withdrawals, right? What's interesting is in this case, one of their cold wallets, one of the more secure wallets that was designed to be super secure and held a hell of a lot of money, was what got hacked. They were doing a routine transaction, sending some ETH over to the warm wallet, probably to rebalance the ETH between wallets. And this specific wallet was even using a safe multisig, which I've actually written about before, and you can find it within my posts. But multisigs generally provide an added security to cold wallets because they require several private keys to sign to confirm a transaction, right? So instead of you just using one key to click and press the sign, you have to have lots of keys. And usually those keys themselves will probably be in hardware wallets or equivalent, right? So a transaction is hard to do. So you can imagine that the internal Bybit team were just running through, a pretty normal transaction that appeared to, have some version of this UI that was what they were used to seeing. It would have all looked the same as usual from their side. However, what had happened was the hackers had somehow gotten access to this interface and masked the real transaction that was happening. So although the interface looked the same as it always looked, what it was actually was just a fake interface that they had somehow put in front of the Bybit employees. And when they signed that transaction, the transaction was not the transaction that they were seeing. It was another one that was created by the hackers that gave the hackers full control of that multi-sig, right? It basically got rid of the need for the other keys, and it gave them full control. Once this transaction was signed, it was already too late. The hackers had full control, and they transferred out over 400,000 ETH in a single transaction to their own address, and then in the next transactions, they swept up lots of other ERC20 tokens, right? And you can see here the transaction, the one that stole all the money, right? Yeah. If you click through here, you'll get to that transaction. The hackers then went on to rapidly spread out this 400,000 ETH into tens of other wallets that held 10,000 ETH amounts, right? And you can see from this bubble map here what it would have looked like, right? I think we can have a quick look as well here. So if I show the transaction itself, this was the one that transferred 400,000 ETH, 401,000 ETH, over 400,000 from a Bybit cold wallet to this wallet, which Etherscan have labeled as the exploiter, right? And you can actually kind of go here and take a quick look at the cold wallet address that they had. This transaction here was almost certainly the one that gave control over, and that was the one that took the 400,000 ETH. And then they did a few other ones that just swept up all the ERC20 tokens, right? And if we go to the exploiter, this has been reported, so Etherscan say that it's the exploiter. They moved lots of ETH into different places. We can see, it was within these transactions. We would have to go through manually and look at all of them. So what happened here was that the Bybit hacker would have sent all that money, but luckily no other Bybit wallets were affected by the hack. And Bybit have been able to maintain withdrawals going without them running out of money, right? Which is really good and very impressive. So who was responsible for this hack? Zach XBT is one of the most well-known crypto crime investigators in the space, right? Although nobody knows who he really is. It's just a pseudonymous figure on X. And as soon as there was a bounty created by the company Arkham Intelligence, which create these visualizations, it's a great app to be able to explore the blockchains and how things move around on blockchain. As soon as they made a bounty to find the criminals through their platform, Zach XBT quickly solved the crime by linking the criminals' addresses to previous addresses used by the Lazarus Group, right? Since then, the hacked funds have been commingled with funds from other previous hacks performed by Lazarus, showing that it's definitely them, right? So this was Arkham announcing the bounty here, and then Zach XBT submitting. And since he's shown that the money is moving into other addresses that have been used for other hacks. But who are the Lazarus Group? Well, they're actually an infamous group of hackers from North Korea. Yes, the country North Korea has a set of hackers that are funded by the government to commit cybercrime, including, through hacking cryptocurrency companies. North Korea is known to be a dictatorship led by Kim Jong-un and one of the poorest countries in the world, so we can only imagine the hackers look something like this. But all jokes aside, Lazarus Group are the single largest hacking group in the entire world, in crypto, right? Since 2017, they've stolen over $6 billion of crypto worldwide, including that 1.5 billion a few days ago, with most of the money supposedly, going into funding their country's nuclear weapons program. So they're pretty bad actors in the space. This Bybit hack was the single largest crypto hack ever. But Lazarus are responsible for the second largest hack in crypto, where they stole around $600 million from the Ronin chain, which actually I mentioned earlier. At this point, Lazarus have racked up a significant number of high-profile hacks. So since the hack, Bybit have managed to keep things under control and manage the situation exceptionally well. Even with all the withdrawals that happened immediately after the hack, they've held strong and even started paying off the temporary loans that they were given by other big players in the space to cover the immediate hole that they had in their balance sheet. Benzo has done a great job. Their CEO, Benzo has since personally declared a war against the Lazarus Group, creating the website lazarusbounty.com, which he hopes will incentivize people to block or recover some of the funds lost. Bybit are giving up to 10% of the funds recovered to those who find them. So if we take a quick look at this site here, we can see that they had $1.4 billion hacked. 6.7% has not been blocked by what they consider bad actors, but 3% has been frozen, right? And you can take a look at the site. So these companies have helped them, this one hasn't. Unfortunately, this type of crime will continue, in crypto. There's no chance North Korea's Lazarus Group will stop, considering just how successful they've been in the past, right? And they've already started laundering these hacked funds, as shown by Arkham Intelligence. Arkham Intelligence has followed traced those funds and seen that it's already been sent all over the place to be attempted to be laundered. Given the situation, Bybit have dealt with the crime in the best way that anyone could possibly imagine, and I and most of the market applaud them for their hard work. Unfortunately, though, it'll always be the case that criminals will act in the space. So as individuals, we need to be super careful, right? Luckily, as I said, in this case, Bybit is still solvent. They still have enough funds to pay back everyone that, because the funds were ultimately funds from the users, right? But they had enough to cover what people would have lost, so nobody lost money other than the company losing, revenue and profits. Around 2 years ago, I wrote a long post on how to keep secure called Web3 Security 101, so make sure to go and check it back if you haven't already, but it covers a lot of how to stay secure as an individual. The key thing here, though, is, crypto is still the Wild West. If this can happen with such big players with a lot of money to spend on security, then imagine the ways people can get burnt to crypto. So don't leave your keys, don't leave your crypto in an exchange, right? There's an old saying that says, not your keys, not your coins. If you leave it in an exchange, you are vulnerable to these sorts of hacks, because exchanges are the most interesting places for hackers to try to go for, since they have the most money, right? So hackers are constantly trying to hack them, and eventually they will from time to time. And great, thankfully Bybit have been able to make all the customers whole, but we've got many unfortunate stories where that hasn't happened. Nonetheless, don't be afraid to be in the space. Just be aware and make sure to protect yourself, right? Now, as I said earlier, if you want to set up your first crypto wallet so that you can take part in the growing global crypto economy, plus access over $1,900 worth of courses entirely for free, then click in the link in the description below, and I'll see you there, and we can make sure that you're safe and you don't have any of these things happen to you. The crypto space is growing and thriving space, and there's plenty of amazing things happening, and there's no reason to miss out because of some bad actors.